Believe in yourself. That is a message that we encounter constantly in books, television shows, superhero comics, and even in common myths and legends. We are told that we can accomplish anything if we believe in ourselves. Of course, we know that to be untrue. We cannot accomplish anything in the world simply through belief. If that were the case, a whole lot more children would be soaring in the skies above their garage roof instead of lugging around a cast for a few weeks. However, we know that believing in yourself and accepting yourself for who you are is an important factor in success, relationship, and happiness, and that self-esteem plays an important role in living a flourishing life. It provides us with belief in our abilities and the motivation to carry them out, ultimately reaching fulfillment as we navigate life with a positive outlook. Various studies have confirmed that self-esteem has a direct relationship with overall well-being, and we would do well to keep this fact in mind both for ourselves and for those around us, particularly the developing children that we interact with. In this video, we are to define what self-esteem is, discuss why it is important, and lastly, focus on things that we can do in order for us to boost our self-esteem. So, you probably already have a good idea, but let's start from the beginning anyway. What is self-esteem? Self-esteem refers to a person's overall sense of his or her value or worth. It can be considered a sort of measure of how much a person values, approves of, appreciates, prizes, or likes him or herself. In other words, how much you appreciate and like yourself. It involves a variety of beliefs about yourself, such as the appraisal of your own appearance, beliefs, emotions, and behaviors. Now, self-esteem includes all those various beliefs that people hold about themselves, including those related to how they look and feel, as well as how they feel about specific attributes or abilities, like I am a great painter or I am a terrible friend. Now, as you might have imagined, many factors can potentially influence self-esteem. Some of the things that might impact your self-esteem includes your age, whether or not you have disabilities or illnesses, your physical limitations, your inner thinking, and even your job. So, racism and even discrimination have also been shown to have negative effects on one's self-esteem. Additionally, genetic factors that help shape a person's personality can play a role, but it is often our experiences that form the basis for overall self-esteem. Those who constantly receive overly critical or negative assessments from their families and friends, for example, will likely experience low self-esteem. An important note, however, is that self-esteem is not fixed. It is malleable and measurable, meaning we can test for and improve upon it. Now, self-esteem can be an important part of motivation and success. In other words, self-esteem serves a motivational function by making it more or less likely that people will take care of themselves and explore their full potential. Self-esteem levels at the extreme high and low ends of the spectrum can be harmful. So, ideally, it is best to strike a balance somewhere in the middle. A realistic yet positive view of yourself is generally considered ideal. Grandiose sense of self-importance, on the other hand, can be off-putting to others and can even be damaging or can even damage personal relationships. It can also be a sign of narcissistic personality disorder, a mental health disorder characterized by an excessive need for admiration and a lack of empathy towards other people. People with narcissistic personality disorder are also more prone to comorbid mental health conditions like depression and anxiety, experiencing feelings of helplessness, and have unstable personal relationships. Too little self-esteem can leave people feeling defeated or depressed. It can also lead people to make bad choices, fall into destructive relationships, or fail to live up to their full potential. Low self-esteem may hold you back from succeeding at school or work because you don't believe yourself to be capable of success. Having healthy self-esteem, therefore, can help you achieve because you navigate life with a positive, assertive attitude and believe you can accomplish your goals. So, what do we have to do to build self-esteem? It's not as abstract as you might think. Let's examine what is called the 6 pillars, which will guide us here. It begins with a shift in mindset. If we want to improve our self-esteem, we must first start living consciously. And no, living consciously doesn't entail some sort of Zen esoteric approach to life. Living consciously means simply being willing to distinguish between 3 facets of perception rather, facts, interpretations, and emotions. Here's a basic example of how those 3 can be tangled together. Because you see your boyfriend or girlfriend frowning, you interpret that he or she is angry, which makes you feel hurt. But what if I told you that you didn't really seem, what if I told you that you didn't really see him frowning? If you simply realize that you may have misinterpreted his facial expression, you can reassess your interpretation from a distance without reacting emotionally. We can retain this mindset by asking ourselves simple questions throughout the day, such as, how am I feeling at the moment? Or how am I feeling this way? Or why am I feeling this way? Or do my actions match my feelings? This way, we'll stay in touch with our internal world. However, living consciously isn't just a mindset, it's a practice too. We've got to keep seeking information from our environment and adjusting our actions accordingly. Here's a simple example that shows conscious living as a mindset and practice. Say you'd like to buy a new outfit. You'll have worked this out by consciously engaging with your internal world or your desire to look different. But then you'll also need to check your external world too, or more specifically, whether you have enough money, the practice side of your purchase, as this process takes both your feelings and your situation into account. You can be sure that the decision you reach will be a sound one. Now, living consciously in this way provides a fundamental understanding of ourselves, which is a prerequisite to nourishing our well-being. Now, self-acceptance, self-responsibility, self-esteem. The first 2 are so bound up in the third that it's a little hard to see the difference. The fact that they share the same prefix doesn't even help. But the difference is clearer than you think. Self-acceptance and self-responsibility are the things that we do that we can increase our self-esteem as a result. When we choose to value ourselves, we are practicing self-acceptance, the second pillar of self-esteem. For example, have you done anything in the last week that you regret? Snapped at someone or neglected something you shouldn't have? Self-acceptance doesn't mean you justify or like these negative actions. Rather, it seeks to understand the underlying cause that led you to them. Perhaps you felt patronized or were stressed out about something else. If you accept why you reacted this way, you will reduce the likelihood of this undesirable behavior reoccurring. But if we accept our current behavior, isn't there a risk that we will grow complacent and lack the motivation to change? Herein lies the paradox. If you don't accept yourself as you are, you'll never find the drive to improve, as you'll spend all your energies agonizing over your shortcomings. Self acceptance also goes hand in hand with taking responsibility for ourselves. The practice of self responsibility is the third pillar of self esteem. It entails taking control of your existence and your happiness by being solution oriented. This means asking the following questions whenever a problem arises. What can I do about it? Don't try to blame others. Take responsibility for your behavior. Instead of saying he pushes my buttons, or I will act differently if only she would do this. Remember that it's not someone else's job to make us happy. Yes, the task belongs to you. Acknowledging this fact will help us empower ourselves, which is a crucial part of self-esteem. Now, I have a right to exist. It's a statement you can agree with, right? Now, here's a challenge for you. Say those words out loud, even when you're on your own. Doing this feels a little embarrassing, right? But the question is why? Most of us don't realize this, but we often struggle to assert such a basic right. This subtle fear of asserting our rights is actually quite normal. It comes down to the following instinctive thought processes. If I express myself, I may provoke disapproval. Or if I affirm myself, I may provoke resentment. This mindset is a direct obstacle to building our confidence. But we can counter this by adhering to the fourth pillar of self-esteem, self-assertiveness. To be self-assertive is to openly be who you are. And to practice self-assertiveness, you need the conviction that your beliefs are important. For example, say you are at a party and you hear a racial or a sexist slur that you find offensive. Having the courage to state your opinion is practicing self-assertiveness. Or perhaps you've just seen a movie with your friends and you felt deeply moved by it. Say so, and don't shrug indifferently for fear of being considered uncool. Each time you express yourself or stand up for yourself, stand up for your values, you strengthen your sense of self-esteem. So, how do you want to live your life? Many would say with purpose and integrity. As it turns out, these two qualities are also vital pillars of healthy self esteem. As we build our confidence, it's essential that we first take responsibility for our goals by asking yourself what you want and where you want to go. You've already started to take the fifth pillar of self esteem, living purposefully, as your guide. But that's not enough. You have to continue to monitor your own progress. We can see this in the story of Jack. Jack dreamt all of his life becoming a writer. But instead of building his skills, he decided to just wait until he felt ready. So what do you think happened to him? Was Jack's desire to become a writer enough to make it happen without any work on his part? Of course not. Years later, Jack was no closer to achieving his dream. Although he'd outlined a clear purpose for himself, like being a writer, Jack did not take any proactive steps to achieve this. So he failed to live purposefully. So our self-esteem depends on making our actions match our goals. But it also entails making our behaviors match our words, or having what is called personal integrity. This trait can manifest itself in a number of small everyday things, such as keeping promises and telling the truth even when lying would make things more pleasant. A lack of personal integrity, on the other hand, is shown by dishonest and is shown by dishonesty and hypocrisy. Sometimes personal integrity can be the most difficult pillar to practice, given that we live in a society where immorality is normal and cynicism is even considered cool, and yet personal integrity is so vital for a healthy self-esteem that you should not let those around you tempt you into sacrificing it. So, self-esteem is a fundamental human need that makes us better able to cope with life's difficulties. So, to achieve self-esteem, draw on the six action-based pillars. These are the practice of living consciously, self-acceptance, self-responsibility, self-assertiveness, living purposefully, and personal integrity. If you take only one important lesson away from this video, make sure that it's this one. You absolutely can build your own self-esteem, and you can have a big impact on the self-esteem of those you love. Self-esteem is not a panacea. It will not fix all of your problems or help you sail smoothly through a life free of struggle and suffering. But it will help you find the courage to keep trying, to try new things, build the resilience to bounce back from failures, and make you more susceptible to success. It's something that we have to continually work towards, but it's absolutely achievable. So, my final words to you is to stay committed. Keep aware of your internal thoughts and external surroundings. Keep focused on your personal goals, and all that is possible when self-doubt isn't holding you back. Again, this has been Dex Kamitan, and thank you for watching.